Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Patrick, and today we're going to be talking about the current Champions League season and my take on it and who I think will win. So, first off, with this new format we have, you can see I have a picture of the old format here, and we basically had 8 groups of 4. And yeah, the top 2 teams from each group would progress on to the knockout rounds, and they would continue from there. This year, we have a new format. Everyone's in the same league table. It's just like a normal league format. And we have 36 teams, and each team is going to play 8 games. They're going to play 4 home games and 4 away games, all against completely different teams, which in previous years, you had your group with 4 teams, and everyone plays each other twice, 1 home and 1 away. But this year, we're playing 8 games, and every team plays different teams every time there's a match day for the Champions League, which is about every 2 weeks. And so, with the new format, we can see that the top 8 teams in this league format will automatically progress to the knockout rounds. And from 9 to 24, they're going to have to go through an extra knockout round, basically a playoff round, to make it to where the top 8 teams are at. And this format, I'm not a huge fan of this format. I really enjoyed the old format. It's a traditional tournament style format, and I really thought it brought a really good tournament feel to this tournament. But with the new format, it has good and bad. Each team they're gonna have 8 games against different opponents to earn their way to the knockout round, which is a good thing, I think. You do get 4 home games and 4 away, which is still good. But again, that's how it was in previous years anyway. So overall, there's not really a huge change because the top teams are still gonna go through, but it is different in the sense that everyone is now competing with every team. You're not just competing with the 4 teams in your group or the 3 other teams that would be in your group. You're competing with the entire 36 teams to try and get basically top 24. You have a chance to progress on into the tournament. So yeah, it's different. They changed it, and yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays out this year. So, my predictions currently Liverpool are top of the table. There's been 4 games played by everyone, and Liverpool have won 4 games, so they're looking really strong. There are some dark horses in there, like currently Sporting from Portugal, who are not super well known in the tournament. They're in second, and Monaco as well. Not, traditionally don't do super well all the time. They're in third. Brest, which is really surprising, a small team from France, they're actually in fourth right now. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out because a lot of the really big teams are, out of the top 8. In the top 8, we have probably 4 major teams with Liverpool, Inter Milan, Barcelona, and Dortmund. And then we have 4 teams that aren't traditionally, a Champions League contender in Monaco, Brest, Sporting, and Aston Villa. Now, some of the big teams that aren't in the top 8 yet are Man City. They're a huge one. They won the tournament last year. Bayern Munich, another giant in the Champions League. Real Madrid, again, another giant. They win the Champions League all the time. We have PSG currently sitting out of the top 24, and we're halfway through the game, so they've got a little bit to worry about. They've got 2 losses, and traditionally, again, they usually always make it to the group stage, and they usually make it pretty far into the tournament. So there's been a lot of surprises. The games I've noticed are a lot different. You're playing different opponents every time we're playing in this Champions League, so it's not more traditional like last year, for example, you're playing these 3 teams twice. So if you play them the first time, you can kind of figure them out and you're much more prepared for the second time. But it's not like that this year, so maybe that is a good thing, to look at here. In other news, we have top scorers and Rafinha and Robert Lewandowski from Barcelona. They each have 5 goals, which is pretty good. And Barcelona have been struggling the last few years, so they're looking pretty good so far under their new coach Hansi Flick. And a really surprised top scorer is Victor Gyökeres. He's from Sweden. He plays for Sporting, who are currently in second in the table. And he's really come onto the scene and he's scoring a lot of goals. He scored a hat trick against Man City, which handed them a loss, which is really huge for them. Top assisters, we have Mohamed Salah from Liverpool. He's got 4 assists this year. Igor Paixão from Feyenoord has 3, and Arnie Angles from Celtic has 3. So, yeah, right now, there's a lot of teams with players. There's a lot of teams that don't usually perform super well in the Champions League, and they're stepping up. So it's really interesting. As far as who I think is gonna win, we're only 4 games out of the 8 just before we progress into the knockout round. So right now it's hard. I think Liverpool are gonna be really strong. Barcelona will probably be very strong. And Man City, it just really depends because they're on a losing streak right now, and I don't know how far they'll really make it into the tournament. But with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, I think by the 8th match day they will have made their way into the top 8 and will be looking to make it to the final. Right now I'd say Liverpool probably has the best chance to make it the furthest. I think Bayern need to pick it up, but I think if they do, they will, progress very far into the tournament. But I think it'll be really interesting to see if some of these big teams that don't get into the top 8, what other teams like Sporting, for example, how they might do, because they'll get a good draw in that first knockout round and they could really progress far, make it to the semifinals, maybe even the finals. So it'll be really interesting. I think it's still a little too early to tell, but I do think we have some standouts here. Obviously, with Liverpool being the big one, they're playing really well under their new coach. So I think it'll be a really good year once we get to the knockout rounds. So yeah, I'm a Bayern Munich fan, so I'm gonna predict Bayern Munich and Liverpool final. I think they're really strong teams, and I think they can definitely progress very far in this tournament. So my final prediction is Liverpool Bayern Munich, and I think Bayern Munich's gonna win this tournament this year. So yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. Hope you all have a great day, and let me know what you think. Who you think's gonna win the tournament this year? Thank you.